Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff Wilkerson, Professor of Physics at Luther College, bringing you the next in our series of what to look for in the night sky. This time we're talking about the week of February 26, 2024. We ended last week with the moon just barely past full. We had a moon week last week, so we start with the moon being a problem this week because it's still just barely past full. It's moving through Virgo as we start the week, so you have a chance here the evening of the 26th into the morning of the 27th, that first Monday night into Tuesday morning. We've got it, it's near Porrima in Virgo. We've got this Y shape of Virgo. Spica is down here. Porrima is up here. From one day to the next, the 27th into the morning of the 28th, the moon will slide down and be right next to Spica. So it's near a couple of pretty good bright stars in Virgo to start the week, and it's somewhere between 85 and 95% full, waning away as it moves this direction. By a few nights later, the evening of the 2nd into the morning of the 3rd, we're really talking about the morning of the 3rd here because the moon's about 50% full. So let's take a break right there and talk about that. I do that on the board. Here's the sun. The nighttime on Earth is over here then, and daytime is over here. And so the full moon will be directly in line with the Earth and the sun, and will be directly overhead at midnight. So it's going to rise at sunset and set at sunrise, roughly speaking, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and be directly overhead at midnight is the full moon, very near where we started. So when we start the week, the moon is up almost all night. You might have to wait just a little bit for the moon to rise, and then it's up the rest of the night. By the time we get to the end of the week, or the March 2nd into the 3rd, the moon will have waned away to about 50% full, meaning it will have moved to over here. This is the illuminated side of the moon. We see half of the illuminated side. It's a 3rd quarter moon. It's 3/4 of the way through its cycle, but it's half full, and it's going to be directly overhead at this point. If the Earth is spinning this direction, we see that it's going to rise into view when we crest that part. So it's going to rise about midnight, be directly overhead at 6 a.m., and set about noon. So the third quarter moon is just rising at midnight. That's why we're really talking about the morning of the 3rd instead of the evening of the 2nd. But that's, I often think in terms of the night being whatever the date was in the evening. So we have the 2nd and the 3rd there. The moon slides right past bright Antares in Scorpio. So Antares is this bright star right here. You got a few stars that mark the head of the scorpion out here. And you got the big sweep of the scorpion's tail back this direction. And the moon is going to go, for some observers, the moon will actually occult Antares. It's great when you have the moon, and the moon's only about 50% full now, so it's not washing everything out. When you have the moon slide by and cover up a star as bright as Antares. Antares is a big, bright orange star, rival of Mars, Antares. Is this orange star. The moon's going to go right in front of it on the morning of the 3rd. For me, it's probably by the time it clears the horizon, this occultation will already be passed. So if you live east of where I do in the middle of the United States, you have a chance to see this occultation. Even if you don't, you got a really good pairing of the moon and Antares on this morning of the 3rd. Now, by this point, where the moon's only 50% full, a 3rd quarter moon, we have a chance to do some other observing, especially in the evening. The moon's not going to rise till midnight. You got a few hours in the evening before the moon comes up to observe some things. So let's go back. We've got Orion here. So we're thinking about mid to late week, getting out and doing a little bit of observing. So find your stars of Orion. Find Betelgeuse and Rigel. And then just below and to the east of Orion is the brightest star in all of the sky, Sirius. So you should see Sirius climbing up behind Orion. Just below Sirius, 4 degrees to the south of Sirius, is a nice open star cluster, M41. So you've got M41. Just remember your fist at arm's length is about 10 degrees, so about half a fist length down below there. As always with open star clusters, these aren't the brightest open star clusters we're looking at here, so a small telescope with very low low magnification eyepiece is good for this observing. But as always, I recommend trying it with binoculars too to see what you can see, especially if you have a dark sky. So you drop down about 4 degrees from Sirius and get M41. You move about 12 to 13 degrees to the east, and you've got a nice pair of open star clusters, M46 and M47 there together. So see if you can find that pair of open star clusters by scanning with your binoculars or your small telescope, sort of due east. And then you drop down about 9 to 10 degrees below those, and you've got M93, another open star cluster. So we've got 4 open star clusters. Remember, open star clusters are these groups of typically a few tens to a few hundred stars, could be a little bit less, a little bit more, that live in the disk of our galaxy. We see scattered around. They're close enough to us and few enough stars. We see the individual stars and a telescope. So you get a nice glittering sort of jewel box of stars there. So find Sirius, the brightest star in all of the sky. Appreciate that for what it is. Following Orion into the sky, find M41, M46, M47, and M93, 4 good open star clusters for us to observe, especially mid to late week after the moon has waned away. At the end of the week, or towards the end of the week, the moon next weekend, the moon is going to be in third quarter, and when it is, it's going to pass right over the top of Antares in Scorpius. So that's something to see. Early morning of the 3rd. So that's what we got for you this week. We hope you have a good week. We hope you have good observing skies. And as always, thanks for watching, everybody.